Welcome to Sew Very Easy. My name is Laura, and as far as vegetables are concerned, I think carrots are happy vegetables with that beautiful orange color. So let's take some orange fabric and turn it into a carrot bag. And that way we can store some pencil crayons, Hot Wheels, or maybe some treats. I'm going to make these carrot bags big enough for a pencil case to put some Hot Wheels in or some toys in. So I'm going to work around a 10-inch mark. I'm going to need some green for the little leaves off the carrots, and this is a 10-inch square. I'm going to need some lining, and I have used a 10-inch square. And for the carrot, I'm going to need 10-inch by about 12, 13 inches. I just have a long piece. It's about 15 inches. I can trim that down later. So the first thing I want to do is work on that carrot. Now to give that carrot some texture, I'm going to fold this fabric and stitch a tiny, tiny little seam and fold and fold and fold and stitch. So I'm just going to have all of these little folds and stitches along this bag. And they don't need to be straight. Matter of fact, you want them crooked all over the place. We just need to leave the top clear without any stitching. So they're just random little folds as I was stitching down. The back is smooth. All those little bumps are on the top. I want to make this little wrinkled carrot the same size as my other pieces of fabric. And I'm not worried if I cut off any of the extra. And it doesn't have to be exact. Now let's work on this green. And I am going to cut 1.5 inches off of the one side. Now take this little piece, fold it in half, and cut it in half. Take each of those small sides, just fold it down about 1/4 inch and stitch. So I've just turned over both of those edges. Find the middle where you took that off, match up the fold and put it facing that center. So I have those two edges touching. And it doesn't matter if your edges are pinked or not. We want to do a row of stitching to hold those down and use less than 1/4 inch. We now have this open seam here. Take this fabric, fold it back so it's right along that edge. And the fabric will usually just let you know where it is. But you can always take a peek to make sure. Fold it along that edge, press, and then stitch 1/4 inch. That fold and 1/4 inch stitch is going to clean up that raw edge. Now this is going to be the casing area where we're going to have those pull strings. So you can press this fabric to the larger piece. On the edge where we have that casing, we're going to stitch on that carrot piece. So match the right sides and stitch. On this other side, we're going to stitch a piece of lining. Match up the raw edges and stitch. I'm going to press that lining seam to the green and the carrot seam to the carrot. Do a row of top stitch just to finish that off. So what we're looking at is the lining. This is going to be the top of the carrot. We have that casing done and the carrot. We're going to work on the carrot top. I do want to find that fold line on both sides on that wrong side. So if you just rub your finger, it's going to give you a little mark in your fabric. So I'm just going to draw a line there. Take your fabric, match it up so the right sides are touching. Those two seams are going to be able to nestle right together. We don't need to pin the whole thing. Just pin those edges to keep them together. Now this is going to be a carrot top. We drew the lines because we do not want to stitch inside of those lines. We want to stitch right beside them. So I'm going to start stitching here and I'm going to come up. And then I'm just going to do just some random waves until I come back to this side, and I'm going to match it up and stitch just on the other side of that line. Stitch whatever crazy little wiggly lines you want. So that inside line is my casing on the inside. And then I just started stitching. And you can see I just did some random curves. Now I'm going to cut a 1/4 inch all the way around those curves. So I've just trimmed and I've left this larger. Now I could take out those pins and turn that right side out. When it's turned over and pressed, you can see it has that really funny edge. This edge is closed up, but we still have that opening for the casing on both sides. If you'd like, you can now top stitch all the way around and top stitch right along that edge. So that little carrot top is done and my casing is done. Just so that this doesn't get in the way, fold it down and pin it out of the way. Just those 2 corners. We now are going to be able to work on that bag. We're going to be able to poke a little bit of that corner out, just so it's going to be easier to work with. And the pins are just going to keep that out of the way. Match those right sides together. And starting right here in this corner, we are going to be able to stitch sort of a carrot shape. So it's going to almost be like a triangle. We could do a little rounded corner, but basically we're looking at a carrot shape. And we're going to start stitching right here where we ended this carrot top. Now that my carrot has been stitched, I can trim that out. You can leave about a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now I want to transfer this measurement to this back. I can fold that over and match it, or I can use one of the pieces that I've cut off. And the lining doesn't have to be exact, so I'm just going to follow that line. Start stitching up at the top, stitch for a little bit, and then leave a little bit open, and then continue stitching that bottom. So I have an opening. Now I can trim off the extra. We need to make sure that that opening is big enough so that we can turn this carrot right side out. And feel for those pins and take those pins out before they stab me. We're going to have a little hole there, so we can just match up those seam allowances and top stitch that closed. Now I can turn this right side out, poke out my little end, and I have that little carrot bag. We have an opening here, and then in the middle we have an opening for the casing on both sides. I'm going to use 2 pieces of ribbon. They're 15 inches each, but you can change the size to what you'd like. I'm going to put one ribbon so that it's going to go all the way coming out this side. I'm going to put the other ribbon in coming in this direction. So it's going to go all the way around, coming out this side. I like to use this little bobbin from Clover. It's flexible and it has a nice little end that has these teeth, so it can hold that ribbon for me. But you can always use a good old-fashioned safety pin. So I have the ribbon coming from both of those sides. Now when I pull it together, my carrot is going to close. So this bag is a lined bag, and it's big enough that I can put in my markers. So I have lots of room. I could put in Hot Wheels. I could put in candy, whatever I'd like. And that first bit of sewing we did gave that carrot a lot of fun texture. Now, if this was the size that we grew our carrots, we would only need 1 per meal, but they definitely make nice storage bags. Hot Wheels, crayons, treats, something fun for us, or even some children that might encourage them to, well, maybe eat their vegetables. Thank you for joining me today on Sew Very Easy. Feel free to subscribe. I'm on Facebook, Instagram. I have a newsletter. It's all free under Sew Very Easy. And be sure to make every day a Sewtacular day. Bye for now.